it's like I've seen some of those locations, but then what you do is when there's, okay, this does not look anywhere near what it was before. It looks fantastic.
The draping and the lighting is super important to me, I think, because that's what guests see when they first enter into a space, is that, and you want to make sure that the lighting is correct for them and that you don't have like big fluorescence and things like that. You want to dim that down a bit and make it a little softer.
I don't want to say gaudiness, but it's like, it's just like plain. It's like boring space, but it's like you can take that and transform that into something that looks like a venue.
Yes.
So, hi, I'm Jeff Carpenter. I'm here again with Jess from the Glass Slipper in West Branch, Michigan. And one of the other services that they provide is wedding decorating. So, I mean, aside, you got bridal shop, you also have them doing wedding planning. But let's just go with wedding decorating this time and kind of like talk to her about how that whole process goes. So, hi, Jess.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So, aside from all the other things you do, we're going to focus on like wedding decorating, because I know that is one aspect of a wedding day, is like how aesthetically it looks.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know a lot of brides kind of like I know we have a lot of like surprise moments where we have a bride and groom kind of coming into the ballroom or wherever it was. Initially to see it first before any of the guests do. And I always see that as a special moment. So
For sure.
Well, how did you get into decorating, I guess is.
Sure. Well, it'd be a similar answer to my coordinating, which is that, my own wedding. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I like it when things are pretty. Most girls do. And so that part was very important to me as well. And so we did a lot. At the time, I got married in 1997. So I was planning my wedding in 1996. Wow. Yeah. And so you didn't see a lot on that end. You saw some, but when people walked into what we had done, I think they were very surprised, because we were very, we concentrated on like lighting and such in the ceiling and things like that not many had probably thought or did in the past. So when people walked in, it was impactful. So then, the encouragement of, man, you really should do this for a living started.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that can add a lot to like a reception area or even the ceremony area. Yeah, it's like you can do that. So yep. I guess what is the whole process behind that? Like what goes into creating that environment? Sure.
So first thing, obviously sitting down with the bride and groom and talking about their vision for their wedding day. Do they have a theme in mind? Some girls are, going into the more bling and very, elaborate, and some want very simple. Some want rustic, some want, boho, there's all these things that over the years have evolved, and, different themes and different things. So sitting down with them and getting figured out what they envision their day to look like, and then what we can do within that to help them with that.
Okay. Because I know it's like, I've seen, it's like, there's sometimes, it's like, have you ever walked into a location where you're like, okay, wow. But it's like, I've seen some of those locations, but then what you do is when there's, okay, this does not look anywhere near what it was before. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
So, it's like, I guess it's like, how do you take that and like think, okay, we can play out here, there, but how can you hide certain things?
Sure. So I have, when you first walk into a space, it can be a little overwhelming, because you know where you need to get to and where you're starting from. Sometimes, not every time. But how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah, It's true.
So we just walk in and we just get started, because we want to make sure in the end that our bride is happy. So we do the best we can. And honestly, like the draping and the lighting is super important to me, I think, because that's what guests see when they first enter into a space. Is that, and you want to make sure that the lighting is correct for them and that you don't have like big fluorescence and things like that. You want to dim that down a bit and make it a little softer generally. And then another really big thing that we concentrate on is our pipe and drape systems. And when you mentioned how do you cover, that's right there, pipe and drape.
Okay.
So that's a big part to me. When a bride comes in, we talk about their budget and we talk about like, do you want to walk in and just see it at the end and be like, I love it? Or do you want to have a hand in it? Where does that budget look for you? We can do as much as you want or as little as you want. So what I tell girls is some of the most important parts to me are the big elements. So like you probably want us to do your fabric and lighting. That's a lot. And if you haven't ever done it before, it can be a frustrating undertaking for you. And again, that pipe and drape system, the covering of things. Things have evolved over the years. Obviously, like back when I got married, you went to a hall. And a lot of people, maybe still are. And that's when a lot of what we do come into play so that we can help them transform that from a hall to a wedding venue, to a beautiful space for a reception. But a lot of girls now too are going to venues which are more all inclusive. So they're thinking of it for a bride when a bride walks in to minimize how much they need to do to transform the space. So it just depends on what they've chosen and where they're at and where we're headed.
Okay. Yeah, because I know a lot of people like look at it's like, okay, back in the 80s, 90s and stuff, you got married at a church and then you went to a hall for the reception, and it's like you guys hear these hall weddings until the venue started coming out.
Yes.
When that took away some of that I don't want to say gaudiness, but it's like, it's just like plain. It's like boring space, but it's like you can take that and transform that into something that looks like a venue.
Yes, you can.
So
absolutely.
So explain to me, it's like, as far as like you go through all the planning and stuff, what is setup and tear down like?
It's intense. Setup, I always tell girls, well, Jules, my daughter, came up with trust the process. Like if a gal walks in and we have stuff, I don't mean to say everywhere, but kind of everywhere.
Yep.
Trust the process. Like our team is creative and they need everything at their fingertips. So we tend to overpack. So we bring a lot in. And then we build from that. We have all the things and all the stuff. And then once it's like, I'll get to a point, sometimes I'm in and out of a hall because I'm, at the Glass Slipper assisting for the day there. And sometimes I'm in and out of like the KFC hall here in town. And I'm like helping them at the beginning and putting my team in place. And okay, I want you to work on this and I want you to work on this. And then I'll come back at the end and I help kind of like make it sing. I call make it sing, put on the final touches, do all the things, meet with the bride at the end, make sure she is 100% happy. No changes need to be made. And then that's what I kind of come in and try to help get all of it back away and out. And, we bring in buckets of lights and tons of florals and just things like that, depending on each bride. And so, just trusting the process because we get there in the end, but it can look a little crazy in the middle of it, like in the thick of it, at the middle part of the day. Close your eyes because don't come in till the end then, kind of thing. And at the tear down part, there's a lot happening. There's a lot of moving parts. Our tear down team generally isn't exactly the same as our setup team. So they have different things that they do. And so it can,
Okay.
It's faster. The tear down is faster.
It is.
Yeah.
So just to explain, it's like how much work does it go into like decorating a reception or anything like that?
Sure. So it can be intense, again, depending on the bride and what she chooses and what her vision is and the space we're starting in. So it honestly can go anywhere from 4 to 5 hours on the short end to 10 to 15 on the long end, at least. I've had some that have even taken longer than that, depending on what the bride envisions for her day. And again, the space we're starting in. So yeah, it's just depends on where we're at, where we start, and where we need to end.
Okay.
And what package is booked. How much are they doing? How much are we doing?
All right. Yeah. So are there any like tips and tricks that couples should know about when they do want to have decorating done? Is there some things that you should know, and what they can help with versus what you provide?
So my best suggestion, sometimes if bride and grooms want to save a little bit, sometimes the areas I always mention is let us do the big stuff, meaning the fabric and lighting, the backdropping and all of that, because those are big, impactful things that can really change a space. But for you to go and invest in those things is honestly, to do a space for what we charge to create a space, you can't buy the items and then you have to do all the work. So I always say, let us do the big things if you do want to keep it on a budget, and you do the tables and chairs. In saying that, though, I would also suggest the linens, rent them from a company. Don't get them yourself. I can't tell you how many brides I've seen that get their own linens and then they come unpressed and unready. They come in a small little package like this. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen girls the night before still pressing these linens, getting them ready and on a table because they come in a small little package and they're wrinkled and they're a mess. And I don't want them to walk that journey. So I try when I sit down with them to talk that through with them and say to them, okay, what is your plan for that process, that part? It's actually less expensive for them and less frustrating in the long run if they just rent them, because they come ready to go on a table. They're ready to go. So that's one of my biggest suggestions. If they're going to do that portion, at least rent the linens so that you don't have all the stress of that.
Okay. Now, is that something that you provide too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we can provide that.
So it's like with many of the decorating, is that something that you guys have that they can rent, or do you have to get that from somewhere else?
So I do outsource our linens because, to be very honest, that's something we don't have time to take care of. In the early days, I did do my own, but then I really quickly realized that was its own animal. Yeah. It was its own process that I just didn't really have time for. So now I do have a company that I rent them from.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I can't imagine. It's like, you after a wedding day, after the wedding reception, it's like you got everything spilled on those things.
Yep. Send them back, let them handle it.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot in itself.
Yes.
To be able to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any setups that come to mind that is probably one, if you were to put any of them in a portfolio item, does this say, this is probably the most spectacular one I've ever done? So explain that.
Honestly and truly, that's evolved for me over the years. So when I first started, I think I liked everything to the nines and as, decked out as possible. And I think I've gotten over the years myself, just, changing, evolving the simplicity, the real, softer tones. Each girl's vision is very beautiful, and when it comes down to it, they all turn out really nicely and look really pretty. Obviously my daughter's wedding days have been some of my favorites because I, was along in that process with them. But they all turn out really, I guess I feel like when our team's involved, I feel like they all come out really nice. So yeah, it's evolved over the years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you were to do your dream wedding, what kind of style and colors would you use?
I probably would go in tones of like ivories, champagnes, and just real soft florals, honestly, if that was something I was doing. But again, it depends on the time of year. Everybody has their own thing.
It does. Because I've seen your team, it's like, yep, and there's a lot of things being brought in, but I can't imagine if it's like if I was a couple who was in charge of doing these decorating and stuff like that, I'd look at it as like, okay, this is just way overwhelming, and it's going to take a lot of time that I don't have, especially because some of those venues, it's like you have to set up the morning off.
Yes.
And to do something like that in the middle of getting ready is a daunting task.
It's nearly impossible for you to enjoy both. You really, can't. that's where we come in. You really need people that can help you with that so that you spend a lot of time, effort, and money into a wedding day, and you want to get to that day and enjoy it as much as possible. Even for my own girls' weddings, I had people come in to do the day of coordinating. Of course, they were a part of my team,
Sure.
but I didn't want to be I wanted to be present in what I was doing because it goes quick. It's quick. So to spend that with them and not have all that outside stuff to have to handle and do is important. And even if you can get into the venue the day before, it's a lot. When you think of 10 hours the day before your wedding, you have a lot on your plate to be doing. And that, to me, you don't want that to be one of them. You want to let someone handle that for you.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Well, is there anything else that couples should know about wedding decorating?
Just do your homework a little bit. Like we have a Facebook, a TikTok, an Instagram. I tell people to go to our TikTok. That's one of my favorite pages because it can show you a transformation of a space, like you see it from the start to the finish, and you can really see what can happen in a space. So just do your research ahead of time, know what you're looking for, and trust your team.
Awesome. That's a good place to stop there. So, all right. So thank you, Jess. So if you've heard it here, you've heard a lot about wedding decorating and stuff like that. So if you're interested in more information, can definitely talk to Jess at the Glass Slipper. What is the website? It's like Glass Slipper
Bridalshop.com.
Okay. All right. So I'll leave it right there. So I'll see you in the next episode. See ya.